As the NBA trade deadline approached in 2008, the Los Angeles Lakers were reeling. Although they had gotten off to a surprisingly strong start that season behind a brilliant but disgruntled Kobe Bryant, a mid-season injury to emergent big man Andrew Bynum threatened to derail the campaign. Without Bynum, the Lakers' title aspirations were effectively shot, and Los Angeles' suddenly lost season only added more fuel to the "Kobe's gonna opt out after next season" fire. As the storm clouds were brewing, however, the Lakers front office managed to breathe new life into their season, acquiring a future Hall of Famer in a blockbuster trade that not only plugged the leak, but ultimately transformed the Lakers back into a dynasty. As much as this story is about the player who rejuvenated the Lakers in 2008, it's just as much about the catalyst for that franchise-altering deal: Kobe Bryant, the burgeoning legend who had helped the Lakers three-peat at the turn of the century. And while it seemed that Bryant would be a Laker for life after signing a 7-year extension with the club in the fateful summer of 2004, one day after the Lakers traded away franchise icon Shaquille O'Neal, by the way, Kobe's commitment to the team was wavering by the end of the 06-07 campaign. That season marked the Lakers' third straight without winning a playoff series, their longest such stretch since the early 90s. And Bryant was fed up. Not just because the Lakers kept coming up short, but because, according to him, management hadn't been forthright with him about their plans to rebuild in the wake of the Shaq trade, which also coincided with the team parting ways with longtime head coach Phil Jackson. And although the Lakers actually brought Jackson back after just one season away from the bench, Bryant's frustration grew amid the team's continued underperformance. So not long after the Lakers were bounced by Phoenix in the first round of the 07 playoffs, Kobe requested a trade, publicly. On a radio interview with ESPN that May, Bryant made it clear that he wanted to be traded and that there was nothing the Lakers could do to change his mind. He was so frustrated, in fact, that he said he didn't even care where he was traded. As he put it, "At this point, I'll go play on Pluto." Then, to make matters worse, a video surfaced of Bryant talking smack about Bynum, the Lakers' first-round pick in the 2005 draft, who still had yet to break out 2 years into his NBA career. Kobe, in the video, lamented that the Lakers didn't ship Bynum's ass out in a rumored trade deadline deal for Jason Kidd the season prior. So yeah, Bryant was clearly itching to leave. However, in the end, the Lakers were unmoved by their star's frustration. General manager Mitch Kupchak came out and plainly said they weren't trading him, and they didn't. And so, as the season loomed, the friction between the Lakers and their franchise cornerstone remained one of the biggest stories in the NBA. And it didn't help matters that the Lakers did little to improve the roster around Bryant over the course of that chaotic offseason. And as the season got underway, the Lakers were under a dark cloud, with speculation already running wild over whether Bryant would opt out of his contract following the 2008-2009 campaign. But then something unexpected happened. LA came out of the gate hot. The Lakers went 7-3 over their first 10 games in 07-08, with Bryant dazzling on a nightly basis, the repatriated Derek Fisher running the point with aplomb, and Bynum, yes Bynum, averaging a double-double per game off the bench. This group, despite not that much year-over-year turnover, was better on both ends of the floor than they had been the season prior. And Bynum's emergence was a huge part of that. In fact, by late November, he had cracked the Lakers' starting lineup. And by the new year, as the halfway point in the season approached, the Lakers looked like a genuine title contender. Following a 5-game winning streak to kick off the year 2008, the Lakers found themselves at 24-11, one game out of first place in the Western Conference. And then disaster struck. Awful news indeed. The diagnosis? A dislocated left kneecap. Not the kind of injury you come back from quickly. And with that freak accident, the Lakers' shockingly dominant season was upended. Bynum had been averaging more than 13 points and 10 rebounds per game, and the 7-footer was unquestionably the Lakers' most important defender, and his absence was immediately felt. The Lakers, who had lost just 3 games in the 5 weeks leading up to Bynum's injury, dropped 4 of their first 6 contests without him. Suddenly, a team that looked like a title threat was reeling. On January 31st, following their 5th loss in 8 games without Bynum, the Lakers sat in 5th place in the West. And although they still projected to make the playoffs, this team no longer had the juice to contend for an NBA championship. Well, that is until Kupchak, who had balked at the Kidd trade the season prior and didn't add any stars over the offseason despite Kobe's frustration, pulled off one of the biggest trades in Lakers history. See, while the Lakers were scuffling, Kupchak had been putting in work. He knew that the owner of the bottom-feeding Memphis Grizzlies wanted to sell the team, and as such, he would want to shed payroll. And who was the highest-earning player on the Grizzlies? A 27-year-old big man named Pau Gasol, the 2001-2002 Rookie of the Year, and at the time the only All-Star in Grizzlies franchise history, one with a remarkable all-around game. He could score, he could rebound, He could protect the rim, and he could pass. In fact, the season prior, Gasol became just the 13th player in NBA history at the time to average more than 20 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 blocks per game. On February 1st, just a few weeks out from the trade deadline, the Lakers acquired Gasol and a future second-round pick from Memphis in exchange for Kwame Brown, Javaris Crittenton, and Aaron McKie, who was signed only to facilitate the trade, plus first-round picks in both 2008 and 2010, and get this, the draft rights to Gasol's younger brother, Mark. It was a doozy of a deal, and it immediately came off like an all-time swindle by the Lakers. Los Angeles landed a star in exchange for, essentially, 2 late first-round picks and a prospect. In fact, none of the 3 NBA players the Grizzlies acquired from LA in the deal were still in Memphis by 2009. Although I should point out that Marc Gasol did eventually go on to earn 3 All-Star nominations and a Defensive Player of the Year award with the Grizzlies, and later became the franchise's all-time leader in minutes played, rebounds, and blocks. Nevertheless, at the time, the rest of the league was less than thrilled about the trade, especially the other contenders in the West. To quote then Spurs head coach Greg Popovich, "What they did in Memphis is beyond comprehension. There should be a trade committee that can scratch all trades that make no sense." Strong words, but Pop clearly knew what was about to happen, because Gasol transformed the Lakers overnight, re-establishing them as a championship contender and ultimately turning them into a powerhouse for years to come. The Lakers won 11 of their first 12 games with Gasol in the lineup, a stretch that propelled them into a first-place tie with Popovich's Spurs atop the Western Conference. And before Gasol sprained his left ankle in March, sidelining him for the final 2 weeks of the regular season, the Lakers had put together a 15-4 run, a stretch that ultimately helped them lock up the number 1 seed in the West. And with Gasol back in action for the playoffs, not only did the Lakers win their first postseason series since 2004, but they advanced all the way to the NBA Finals, where they were bested by the Big Three Boston Celtics. Still though, while the Lakers season ended in heartbreak, it was abundantly clear that this team, led by the newly minted MVP in Bryant and Gasol, would be back. And in fact, a new dynasty was about to kick off. In 08-09, the Lakers were far and away the best team in the West, finishing 65-17 thanks to an All-NBA season from Bryant and an All-Star season from Gasol. And for the record, Bynum, who missed more time with another major knee injury, finished third on the team in both points per game and rebounds per game. And this time around, there was no stopping them. For a second straight year, the Lakers punched their ticket to the NBA Finals and really only faced resistance in the conference semis from the Houston Rockets. And in their best-of-7 matchup against the Orlando Magic, the Lakers simply outclassed their opponent, needing only 5 games to capture the 15th championship in franchise history and Kobe's first without Shaq. Yeah, that title certainly helped quiet the will Kobe opt out speculation. He did not. And then guess what? They did it again. In 2009-2010, the Lakers, with the same core in place plus the notable addition of Metta World Peace, finished with the best record in the Western Conference and bullied their way into the NBA Finals. This time though, they'd be squaring off against their most hated rival, the Celtics, whose 3 superstars were firmly in decline but still made for a tough matchup. And indeed, an epic series ensued, but it was the Lakers that came out on top, with Gasol propelling LA to an unforgettable Game 7 victory with a 19-point, 18-rebound effort, the defining game of his career and one of the most indelible NBA Finals performances ever. By almost all accounts, Gasol should have earned Finals MVP that year over Kobe, but I digress. Ultimately, only 2.5 years after being traded, Gasol had helped the Lakers re-establish themselves as the NBA's premier franchise, the gold standard. And in the process, he had solidified himself as a franchise icon. And while just about everybody called it at the time, it's definitely safe to say now that the fateful 2008 trade that made it all possible was a steal by the Lakers. Thanks for watching. If you like this video and want to see more content like this, hit that subscribe button.